Over the summer, me and my friend Sophia Wright decided to collaborate to create an animatic short called Disastrous Hazards. I'll be giving you what I've learned from this process and reflect the work as a creator and also beginner who had learned a bit of the basics listed from this experience. Writing, storyboarding, time management, and the last important thing to me, my own mindset. During and after this. At first, I never had an idea what I was going to write. At the time, I had only wanted to design a reference sheet for Vivian to later use for future animations, but I was in a dilemma. I didn't know what to animate after I finished. Not until Sophia brought up an idea. She wanted us to make an animatic introduction for us, since we already discussed the idea of collaborating on this channel before. So the next week was about writing ways to introduce our characters, more importantly show the dynamic between Sophia and Vivian, and here's the thing. I hadn't thought of an idea of who Vivian was as a character. From Sophia's words, if I recall correctly, which I don't, was that the characters were based off of us. Then after the script, we decided to write our characters' purpose and personality to be different from ourselves. So when looking back, we decided to rewrite each piece of the dialogue to hold more meaning. For example, Vivian's outlook on the broken window was a sign that she has an opportunistic personality trait, who takes whatever disasters into a good opportunity to enjoy and help Sophia like she did with helping cleaning up the house that she broken inside. And the interaction was her pushing the opportunity she had about living with Sophia. Then there was Sophia. In the beginning of the scene, I decided to provide some context of their current relationship. So her first line was "she's here again," as an indication that she knew who it was that had helped wash the dishes. However, during the whole interactions after between Vivian and Sophia, there was some minor conflict between them since Vivian was insisting about living there without considering Sophia's first question of why she was there in the first place, making Sophia believe that Vivian was only there after breaking in to simply help in order to welcome herself in, which would rub her off the wrong way because it questions the sincerity of the relationship, which helped me understand more about their dynamic. Not only that, it helped me realize that the characters are a filter to providing information to anyone watching. It's a lot weirder for me to write, "Hey Sophia, I had to clean your house. Why did you break into my house?" "Oh, I was going to ignore your questions," and proceed talking about selling glass because I am a person who sees opportunity in glass. It just sounds very robotic. And that was my writing process during it. As I continue talking about the rest of what I've learned from this project, feel free to tell me what I could have improved on or done differently. Because as of now, the only criticism I have in mind when looking back to the video was how fast it felt. 2 minutes didn't give us time to explain their dynamics clearly, nor the premise of the series. The animatic was simply me testing the style of the writing, but hopefully you understand the first animation and its purpose now. Now on to storyboarding, which was my favorite and worst part of making the animatic. Since I started, I have faced the learning curve where I struggled with drawing the individual frames. It had taken me at least a day to draw 6 panels each, and I thought it was a productive problem caused by me, but the main issue I had was me drawing the unnecessary details at first. Before I learned a new art technique I never knew until I saw a video about it on YouTube Shorts, and it was to draw the expression of the eyes first before the contour of the body. So as a result, I figured that ditching the unimportant details while drawing expressive eyes in the last few scenes helped me a lot when displaying emotions for the rest of the storyboard, and saved me and Sophia a lot of time, which, by the way, Sophia, thank you for helping me finalize the storyboards. Couldn't have done it without you. But back to explaining the process. I had made 6 individual empty frames as a template. I then drew each frame, and whenever I changed a different angle, I would title a shot number above it. If there's any important action scenes or dialogue, it's helpful to write for yourself or anyone else to see. But if I were to make storyboards again, I would love to incorporate more movements in my animatics, like I did in this scene. That way, it gives the vibes of a comic dub, or the illusion of it being animated. But I have to promise myself that I'd use this new information that I've learned to not only prevent me from falling behind with what I've made, but to also retain and share this information with anyone watching this. So overall, what I've used to create the storyboards was on Ibis Paint, since it's my preferred software to draw. And for the editing, I had used CapCut since it's accessible and easy to use. I also use BandLab to help with recording the lines, since it has a feature where you could write down notes for you to follow up, which is very useful for me with recording longer lines. It saves me a lot of time. And when it comes to time management, I usually have a standard when it comes to uploading for myself, since it always feels nice to see my own finished work for a reasonable schedule, ever since the Alien Tropes video. And seeing my expectations fulfilled has always been satisfying. So, talking about this, I have something in mind. That sometimes you don't have to worry about time, since it's more reasonable to worry about not taking actions instead of not having enough time left. For me, I try to upload twice a month, that way I don't burn out and be unable to make new ideas. But for the animatic, I was planning to have finished by the end of July, since I wasn't going to be able to record an entire script like my normal videos during the summer. So I decided to record with what I had in the moment, which is a sign that my method of doing rather than waiting turned out to be the best option for me. When it comes to time management, I'm convinced that I'm going to be able to upload twice a month, but I've learned while collaborating is that I have to be flexible when it comes to working with others, and especially with working with time. During the process, it wasn't so hard for me to work whenever I can, though I had some minor deadlines which often changed because I wanted to be mindful about what my friend was able to do on that day. Since after all, during the summer we had our own plans, and honestly now, I'm happier that I don't have to worry about waiting. But overall, it didn't matter, as long as the process wasn't stressful for us, which I can assure it wasn't. I believe the performance went well. My thoughts on the entire process and what I want for the near future seems to be clearer to me now that I learned more about myself on what I want to do. I've always liked making big ideas, and the start of this channel was from the idea I've wanted to make to be a grand learning experience. So one of the few things I've learned from this is that I've also wanted to continue working on disastrous hazards for the near future, for the sake of learning more from it and how I can explain my experiences to you. Now, I'm not going to change what I post, and I will still talk about whatever topic feels fun for us. But now you know that I have future plans about the series that's being cooked up, and hopefully share what I've learned. So yeah, the actual pilot is still in process. However, I can tell you that we got the main idea for the show, characters, and soon locations to write about our next stories. I'm Octi Posted, and this was Behind the Scenes and Animatic Experience. Goodbye!